So just while everybody's joining, we'll do some different notes on what's going to happen today. We are, let's see, several things. Today we're going to have Danny Mangin. For those of you that don't know, a really great wine, food, travel writer. He writes for Flambeaux, Napa and Sonoma, and he also does the directory of. Let me make sure I read it right. The California Directory of Fine Wineries. So it's really cool. It's a great book that you often will find like in a really nice hotel. It's a great directory, and it kind of features a lot of some of the better wineries in the area. So, and I saw somebody said Nia looks great. So this is my co-host today. Just so you guys know, though, the weather was not cooperating. We had rain, and we thought we'd just take it inside. But when we go inside, it's a smaller area, so it'll just be us today. My parents are taking a break. Nia's over there. Nicole's over there, and she's going to feed us your questions, and hopefully we'll get some interesting stuff. By the way, we have been really busy with guests recently, and we haven't been incorporating you guys into the video feed. So if you'd like to join us, if you're drinking wine, whether it's Flambeaux or not, we would just love to see you and see what you're drinking. So request to join. It may take us a while, but we'll try to add you in. And up there, we need to get Sharon back to New Orleans. She's right. Okay, so and then in addition, if you have a question, please shoot it to Nicole. She'll feed it to me. If it's a wine question, a Sonoma question, whatever, we'll try to take those. So we'll kind of start with Danny, and then we'll work our way out and see where it goes. It's always an interesting adventure. So Danny, I see you're there. When you're ready, you just hit the request to join, and we'll get you in, and we'll start talking about this 2016 Dry Creek Cab and see what Danny thinks. Let's see if he's gonna make the request. And it could be something on my end, so we'll see if Danny's coming. In the meantime, we'll also don't forget that towards the end we're gonna have our trivia question. There it is. Here comes Danny. I'm gonna add him in now. We're going to have our trivia question, and it's always with my sister, and it's always interesting, and we'll have a prize. And the prize today is Flambeaux wine t-shirt. Everybody loves these. It has Flambeaux on the front, and then join the parade, which is backwards, I'm sorry, but that's our catchphrase. Very New Orleans, very Flambeaux. So that'll be for the winner of the trivia contest. But let's see if it takes a second for Danny to join, so we'll just let live TV do what it does. There he is. Hey!
Sorry about that.
It's okay. It's okay. It's just hanging out anyway, right? This is how our tastings are. You know this. We're just informal, having fun. Danny, I gave them a bit of background on you, but why don't you tell everybody a bit about yourself, if you don't mind?
Well, I did hear a little bit of the background you gave, but these are the two books he was talking about, California Directory of Fine Wineries and Flambeaux.
And I will throw those up. I think I can do this. Let's see if I do it right. So there you go.
That's the older edition. Very good.
Yeah, can you see that one? And this is the Flambeaux one. So it's pretty cool. Go ahead.
I'm just about to start updating Flambeaux again in a couple of months, but I have a whole section on one of the things that sets this book apart is a rather long section about how to taste at wineries and what are some of the terms and just how to go through a tasting. But I was just looking at it last night, and I've got to figure out what the new world of tasting is, right?
Yeah,
but then again, so do you guys.
We do, and I was going to ask you about that. I've got, you said you had some questions for me. I actually have questions for the guy who always asks the questions. So, I want to see kind of your thoughts on travel to Sonoma, wine tastings in the future, and we'll kind of dig into it. But I am curious. Did your wine arrive? Did I get you some wine? I know I
Well, you got me some wine a long time ago for one of the earlier ones, and I had Coravin the 2016 Dry Creek, so that's why I was lucky I had any left, because the other ones I just opened and enjoyed them, and they were great. The trio.
Yeah. Okay, and I had sent you the olive oil. I think that's what I was thinking of. So hopefully
I don't think I ever got that.
Oh, okay. Well, the warehouse has been a little crazy lately, so it's been. We'll have to check on that, but we'll get to it for sure.
But the thing that was interesting to me, I took that pretty little picture with the orchid. So I had this bottle, and I wasn't sure I'd put enough argon gas into the bottle when I had the one glass for the tasting a couple of weeks ago. And then I was out in the sun, and I couldn't get the composition right. And I thought, actually, this bottle's getting a little hot. So I was afraid when I opened it up an hour ago. I was like, oh my God, I hope I haven't ruined it, but it's lovely. And I'm
Good. So you've got some in the glass, and we'll talk a bit about the wine, then we'll talk about everything else. So yeah, for those of you that don't know, the 2016 Dry Creek Cab, that's our third vintage from this property. We're in Healdsburg in Dry Creek Valley. So I don't know for those of you that don't know that valley, it's a beautiful place to make cab, not known for cab. It's known more for the Zinfandels that come from this area, which are pretty world class, but the cabs are beautiful. We're at 350 feet. This is our home vineyard, so our home is here as well. And those that we've gotten to know can come visit us here, like Danny. So Danny, actually, I think we probably first met at Grand Cru, which is our winery. And then we talked you into coming here for a tasting, and we had a lovely day back when things were somewhat normal, right?
Oh, no, they weren't. You're forgetting. It was cloudy.
Oh.
And it was about 2 weeks after the fires had died down.
Yeah, I guess I blocked it out mentally.
I realized, because I was looking at my notes from our chat, and I thought, gee, it's always a disaster with this guy.
It is. It's funny. We were talking to Raquel a couple of weeks ago, and
yeah.
We talked about how she was supposed to come here for a tasting, and we had the fire. So I don't know if it's us or if it's just bad luck, but everywhere we go, we were in New Orleans for Katrina. We're here for fires, and of course we've got this craziness. But it's been great to get to know you and to get to know the people in the area. We just love Sonoma, and can't say enough great things about it. So this is a Sonoma cab, right? This is Dry Creek Valley Cab, and tell us what's in your glass right now.
So I've got the 2016, and I was going to ask you just because I didn't have time to look at the notes, because I was thinking the 15 had a little American oak on it. Does the 16 as well?
It does as well. Yeah, and that's a great question. So just so for the viewers at home, right? This is soil from our property. You guys may have seen this in one of the earlier tastings, but I don't know if you can get the color there, but it's got a real red hue to it. And that's because it's got a lot of iron. It's a really iron-rich, mineral-rich property. It has a lot of natural acidity. And we want you to get that minerality, and you can lose that when there's too many tannins. So French oak just happens to put more tannin on wine. American oak is a little bit, I like to use the word silkier, smoother. So you get to taste the property, you get to taste that minerality, but we do French oak as well. It's about half and half. Mm-hmm. And the goal there is to not have it be, while we love American oak for what it does in terms of softness, it can be very oaky, right? A lot of somms will tell you they can taste it right away. I don't find it that overbearing, but that's when it's 100%. When it's 50-50, you're getting those a little bit smoother characteristics, but the French oak is giving it some really nice characteristics as well. So
it's funny too, when I tasted the 15 with you at up there where you are, I did taste the American oak a little, but not in a bad way. I actually thought, oh, what's this doing here? Here it does. That's why I had to ask, because I thought it was there, but I wasn't entirely sure.
Yeah, I think that it's funny. You learn as you go, and you make adjustments, and of course every year is a little different. But I love this property. I always say Cabernet, California Cabernet. It's got a lot to do with climate, but tends to skew a little bluer. A little bit more of that dark fruit, blackberries, whereas our property, when it's showcased right, I think with the right kind of balance of oak, you get a lot of that redder fruit, raspberries and, just the dark cherry. So between that and I think the spice that we get on this wine, it's really interesting. It's got a lot going on front, mid, and then the finish, the mid palate and the finish. So it's we're really loving it. That 15, as you know, was a top 100 wine, and I love it. But I keep telling people, I'm like, remember the 16 is a year behind. Where this will be in a year, I think will be pretty special. I mean, it's already kind of taking off. So.
Yes, and speaking of red, your property, the dirt is red.
Yeah, no, it's like Alabama clay. I tell people it's just it's got a lot of redness to it. But we do the second cab. I think in 16 it was the Redwood Hill, which was Fountain Grove.
Yes,
Much
which I
higher
love.
elevation. There was a beautiful vineyard. Unfortunately, it was lost in the fires. But we try to have those two types, those two styles, right? So that second cab in 17, it's Alexander Valley. That'll be a little bit more blue fruit. And it's 100% French oak, so you really get that, maybe for lack of a better word, that classic Cabernet style.
Well, one thing I wanted you to talk about, because you have to convince restaurants, for instance, to want a Dry Creek cab. What's the dialogue there? Because obviously Alexander Valley, just within Sonoma, is more well known, and you're up against the world's Cabernets in some restaurants.
Yeah.
But what do you tell people about why you think Dry Creek cab is worth
I'll tell you, you face an immediate hurdle. I mean, we wanted to make Dry Creek cab. We love what this property can do, but you have an immediate kind of resistance from restaurants. They say, well, look, I think it's great, but can I get a buyer to have a Dry Creek cab as opposed to an Alexander Valley cab? They're like, look, we love your wine. Send us your Alexander Valley cab, and we will, sell that all day. But if you're doing a Dry Creek, it's going to be a little bit more work, and we have to convince people. And so what you really have to do is just show them, with just a little bit of coaching from the waiter, it can be pretty special. I think I've lost Danny here. Are you seeing him still? So there, is that better? Dry Creek, it's going to be a little bit more work, and we have to convince people. And so what you really
I didn't know if that was you.
Well, we all get to look at Danny's shirt, so that's good.
Thank you. I'm glad it wasn't
up close. I'm being honest. I'm wearing pajama pants because you can only see the top. So that's my quarantine uniform.
All right.
So I don't know if you heard all that, Danny, but basically restaurants, particularly New Orleans restaurants, where people know their valleys, they at least know when it comes to a cab, Alexander Valley, Napa, they kind of recognize that. I think if you have a restaurant willing to work with you and have waiters that are just going to kind of explain why, we've just been killing it in New Orleans with that Dry Creek cab. So, and it really does pair well with a lot of New Orleans style foods. We don't just make big steaks, right? So but it is an adventure. So I think that where we're headed is the Dry Creek cab is going to be more of the club wine. Our club just loves it. And then we'll use the Alexander Valley going forward as more of our wholesale restaurant wine. So, they're both special in different ways.
Yeah, and actually, well, your club members are going to have that lovely Zin from the same vineyard. So,
yeah, and that's a good point. The Zin, the 2017, again, it's another one just like the 16 cab. It's just starting to take off. Remember, the Zins we only keep in barrel for about half the time that we would have our cab in barrel. So they kind of the 17 and the 16 cab kind of end up at the same place at the same time. It's fun to watch them develop. We think the wine's great. We're excited about it, but honestly, I really want to pick your brain. Feel free to ask me any questions, but I want to pick your brain. Just kind of, you've been doing a lot of these virtual tastings. There's always technical things. I get there's difficulties, but I've really enjoyed it. I'm just wondering what you think.
I've been enjoying them. I'd rather be out in the vineyard. I was actually, the day I was up with you, we didn't end up walking around. So I want to rain check on that. Flambeaux. But I was doing one last week actually it was earlier this week, and the winemaker was who's out in the vineyard all the time. He was going on and on about, I wish you could see this, and I wish you could see that. I was like, shut up. But what I've been interested in, a lot of times you see people from the winery that you wouldn't normally see.
Yeah.
Actually, your wineries, winemakers also works for Three Sticks, right? I've never seen Bill Price, who owns.
No, Ryan Pritchard, who is our winemaker, you're right. No, I mean, and they have Bob Cabral doing the wine tastings. I mean, it's really kind of cool because we think if you would normally go, you would get someone who's there every day. So it's pretty neat. And of course, we're not Ryan, and we don't pretend to be, but we try to be decent hosts, and we just have fun. I mean, you've seen.
Great. These are a good contrast, actually. Not because I think we've people have learned a little bit already today, but yours are looser, and I've enjoyed that aspect of it too.
Yeah, I mean, I always tell people, look, if you want like a sit-down tasting where we go through the tech, and that's a Ryan job. But if you want to just have fun, we're from New Orleans. It's just sort of a celebration, and this is how we have our tastings. You've been here. I mean, it's sort of, especially when you come to the vineyard, it's just sitting around and drinking. We certainly will work through wines, but it's more just about the experience and being together, which is what we love about wine. So yeah,
both of my books and even some of my other writings, they're really about pairing the right people to the right winery that's right for them. And one of the reasons I like Grand Cru is you can't go wrong because there's 18 choices or whatever it is at the moment. But also I think that Grand Cru is a good, which is where you make your wines, is a good place to find out about smaller wineries all at once.
No, that's absolutely right. We only have, I mean, even the biggest winery there maybe makes, I think, 6,000 cases a year. I mean, which, by the way, guys, I mean, you may not know if that's big or small. We're 1,500 cases a year, and it feels huge, but it's just so small as compared to the rest of the world. You've got guys that are making 1 million cases or hundreds of thousands. So, I
think 500 is the lowest when I'm looking at these names here. So you're not even the lowest, but 1,500 is a lot when you have to sell it, isn't it?
Yeah, it really. And of course, when you have to sell it with no longer really having, unfortunately, right now we don't have much of a wholesale restaurant market. Now we're only about 20% wholesale, but you have to find a place for that wine until the restaurants come back. So it's been a bit of an adventure, but we're small enough that we're not feeling that pressure as much as somebody who maybe is now trying to find a place for 10,000 cases. Yeah. But it's I think the virtual tastings are going to stick. We're certainly going to keep doing it even after things normalize. It's just we've been doing a lot of corporate stuff and exchanges with club members where we can have people and just get that kind of intimate thing. And think about it. They don't have to buy a plane ticket. They don't have to, necessarily have a trip to do the experience. Yeah. But this is Sonoma, and it's a beautiful place. The weather couldn't be better right now. Oh, it's a little rainy today, but I think we need to really encourage people that when things do normalize, you got to come visit. And that's really what you do, is talk about what to see. I mean, it's not just wineries, right? It's restaurants as well, and I guess hotels as well. So I kind of want to encourage everybody to read your book, but also just to pick your brain if they can.
Right. Well, one thing that's interesting to me is on all these tastings, for my book, I have to ask, like, what are you guys planning on? Because in theory, people could open up pretty soon under certain conditions, right?
Right.
And receive guests, whether it's outdoors or whatever. And everybody's like, we're not really sure. And so it's because people want to make sure it's safe. They want to make sure their customers are comfortable. And I did think of, not to keep plugging Grand Cru, although I do love the place, the setup there is actually...
I think we lost Danny.
Sorry.
There he's back. That's okay.
The set at Grand Cru is really conducive to sort of making people feel comfortable because they're individual rooms, and it looks obvious you could wipe them down to somebody's satisfaction, and if they were nervous, they could wipe it down really quickly too, and it still wouldn't hold it up. I mean, I can visualize, like, if I were running a tasting room and really wanted to set people's minds at ease, which I think you're going to have to do for a big chunk. Maybe some people are not as paranoid as I am, but I would say you guys have got a chance there, because I think people could, like as they're in the room, they can say, all right, I feel okay. I can relax and enjoy the tasting now.
Yeah, that's the thing about Grand Cru. It's a really great, I mean, for those that don't know, it's a custom crush facility with multiple brands. So you can go and you can try us, but you can also try other people. And we sort of encourage that. We do a lot of split tastings. We're adding people in. I mean, we make cabs in Chardonnay and Rosé, but we got friends that make Syrahs and Pinots and, Grenache and all kinds of interesting Rosés. So it's fun to kind of join it together. And I think there's some synergy there. But we also do tastings at the vineyard because I think people like to see both worlds. And so what we kind of encourage them to do is, if you're off the street, come to Grand Cru. we get to know you, and then we can have you at the vineyard, because I always tell people, it is our home, and we have to at least kind of vet you. It's not a rough vetting process, but we want to know who you are. But no, it's.
Well, I was lucky to have Lisa vet me for you, although we have met too.
Yeah, Lisa's great, and she's just connected us with so many great friends like you. I kind of want to. I mean, I want to talk about when things are normal, and you know so many restaurants and the wineries, and there's no pride of authorship here. We just love to know when things kind of come back to normal. Are there some restaurants that are really that you're really enjoying lately, and if there's I don't know, just tips for people who are coming.
Well, I've been only eating William Wong's food for 2 months. And my son used to work at Gerard's Paella, so we get his knockoff of Gerard's Paella every once in a while. But actually, I'll tell you where I'm going to go first. Not the actual place, but the type of place I'm going. I've been keeping tabs on who's been really trying to help out in the community, and those are the ones I'm going to go see first. And actually, I'm not saying people who aren't set up to stay open should open just for the sake of it, but I do appreciate, because my child doesn't have a job, I appreciate, and Gerard stayed open, so it isn't about that. But I do appreciate the people that have been feeding people, especially up your way, because I live in Marin, and when we go to the supermarket, there's enough stuff there. But I've read up, as you get farther north, sometimes there's like nothing there. Yeah. I don't mean that you're starving, that I've heard that or something, but you being able to get that wonderful, I'm so jealous of Kathy Nolan out there for her. She does her little, I got this from Single Thread and Bulette came over. But those would be 2 places I'd love to go to. That's
a great point. I mean, I guess circumstances being what they are, I've had friends who can now have Single Thread without it being, a big complex night. And I mean, it's a beautiful experience, by the way, as I understand it. I haven't been there, but it's, you're there for 4 hours. They're catering the meal to you. But now they recently had a burger, and I heard it was just knock you out of the park. It was just amazing. So we'll definitely want to try to take advantage of that soon, for sure.
Well, the other day I was saying, I wasn't sure, actually. I've been so sheltered. I haven't been keeping track of what you get to do on May 18th, right? So I said, well, maybe we can just drive up to Single Thread. No, it wouldn't taste good if we drove back. We'll have to just have it in the car.
I'm telling you, there's some tables. There's like some stand-up tables right outside. That just
right, of course, yeah.
I've seen people eating there because they want to eat it, like right out of the restaurant. So there have been a lot of restaurants that have done such a great job from kind of the beginning of this, and they're being really, frankly, they're doing great with the wines, and they're doing a lot of these split tastings. So, we did one with a restaurant from New Orleans, but in 2 weeks for our next tasting, we're going to be with the chef at Madrona Manor, Jesse Mangin. So, and we'll see what he pairs with. I think it's going to be our Redwood Hill. So it's kind of fun. This is an opportunity for me to, we've made friends in Sonoma, but you can't meet all these restaurant guys. Normally they're busy, and now we're getting the chance to do that. And it's fun, not only just for the wine, but just because I love seeing what these guys come up with. They're, per capita, this might be the best food in the world. I mean, because when you think about it, San Francisco people come here. We have 10,000 people, but we have all these, amazing Michelin star restaurants just in this area. So there's lots to see. Your guide is certainly a great starting point. And then, I think just always pick the locals' brains and see what they think works well. I mean, and that's the same thing. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Think about Healdsburg. I've forgotten what the population is, but it was 5,000 the last time I was paying attention. And the number 12 restaurant in anybody's book would be really like the number 1 or 2 in a lot of cities, right?
Yeah.
So there really is a wealth of good options.
Well, and then for us, I mean, especially now, the opportunity to go somewhere and drive. I mean, I take out all the great restaurants in Healdsburg. I can go to Calistoga in 40 minutes, and I mean, amazing food. And then of course you just go a little bit further, Santa Helena, and the food it's such a great area to visit, and of course you can't go wrong with some of these views. So and the weather it's a shame that we're I mean, I'm glad we're able to get out and kind of enjoy it. And now the parks are opening up a little bit, but
Yeah.
the weather's been so kind of perfect lately.
And actually, the saving grace for this first next phase, rather, or stage, this is a good time weather-wise, and people eating outdoors is going to be possible. And you know, I'm hoping people will be you know, if you're not, you know, too fearful, that people could come on out.
Yeah, no, I mean, you know, so we've been doing pickups here, and it's worked out great. So Kathy Nolan, we mentioned from
Yes.
Instagrape. I just love telling the story because she rode her bike, and I don't think she realized that we are at elevation. We're on a hillside, and she had a bit of it was a haul on that last bit, but she made it, and I think they're picking up their prize from the last photo contest we did, and it's fun to have people come and get the wine. But what we'd like to do slowly is just do a little bit of visiting at a distance, and, you know, whether it's 6 feet or whatever, I think that's possible, and hopefully that'll kind of start to turn. Yeah, for sure. So I mean, there's so much I could ask you. I'm just kind of curious if you have anything you want to tell the world right now. I mean, to say the world, it's whoever's on right now, but
Whoever it may be.
Any words of wisdom?
Well, actually, I was support your local family winery as well, because a lot of you know, people are saying we're all drinking more wine these days because we're stuck at home. And I realized when I did recycling the other day that if my neighbors are keeping track, I had a whole bunch of stuff where I kept the bottle because I thought I might need to take a photograph of it. So I threw something like 25 bottles into recycling yesterday. So we are drinking a little more, but a lot of people, they're drinking what's easy to get, and you might have to look a little farther to find a smaller wineries.
That's a great point. So yeah, you can go to your grocery and you can get stuff that you can find in a lot of places, and nothing wrong with that wine. But sometimes to find the boutique guys, you're going to have to order on their website. I mean, we're available at some places in Louisiana, for instance, because, you know, we're from Louisiana, but we don't do a lot of off-premise stuff. So really, the only way to get it is to go to our website. And that's true of a lot of these small guys. And I just encourage you, I don't care who it is, if there's a wine you've heard of that you like, or you just want to try, order it. Look, they've got the shipping working very well, and it's not murderous. And if you think about your time going to a grocery, it's probably not that bad. And you can get some really great wines for some pretty good deals right now. You know, we have friends at Grand Cru, and I always hate to shout them out because I'll forget someone, but our friends at Smith Story have been doing curbside delivery. They'll come to your house if you're in the area. And they're driving all over. They're troopers. They're more than I. The one time I did a wine delivery, I was in my pajama pants, and the people looked at me like I was crazy. So I don't think I should be doing that anymore. But then Sam Lando, I don't know if you saw Lando Wine. He's doing like a cross-country tour in an RV, and, you know, it's distancing, meeting people, but he's just like, all right, I have nothing to do right now. You know, we're gonna go and take the wine to people. So he's going to Montana, and kind of a place that probably needs some good wine. I don't know that it's heavily distributed there, so I'm excited to see how that turns out. I just think it's fun to see everybody getting creative, and there is a lot of support for these small wines. You just have to, everybody has to make a little bit of an effort, for sure.
Well, I had a friend who told me, like, oh, I'm actually having to read your opinion more often because I can't get out and check anything out. I'm like, well, thank you. I appreciate the endorsement. But I normally don't always write about the wines and do tasting notes. I'm more about the place and general winemaking style and what people are up to. But I've actually been doing notes of people like, okay, well, maybe I want to try something new. You know, here's one. Even sometimes I even will say, you know, if you're looking for an affordable one, in this, you know, cab or a Pinot or something, this one's really good for it if it's about money. When, you know,
right. Well, you're breaking up a little bit there. I was just gonna check, but you know, I see Kyle Ferracci here. He's one of our club members. You know, he's talking about how quickly you can get the wine. It's just a really great point. And now that we have what's called the summer solution that they do, it's just like overnight, but for not much more than what ground would cost. So that way the wine is absolutely getting there in the condition that we want you to have it. And so, you know, people worry about getting wine in the summer. there's ways around it. There's solutions, and
Yeah.
and we're all about it. We just want people to have wine when they want it. So rosé's been pretty popular. It's getting
Yes.
warmer in Louisiana, for instance. So this has been great, and I just can't thank you enough for coming on. And I want to get you here again and have some fun. We need it.
All right. I'm willing.
Good, always, and hopefully we will be seeing you on some more future virtual tastings. If you just join us and say hi.
Excellent. Be
All right.
happy to. Great seeing
All right.
you. Hi to everybody there.
Good to see you. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah. Okay. We got some questions in now, guys. All right. First question that we got: how does a Corvan work? That's a great question. Have you guys ever seen a Corvan? Okay. So Nia, grab my Corvan from the wine cellar. Okay, somebody else may have to. I love throwing over loop. Nia, come over here and say hi to everybody. It's fun. It's just, we like to torture Nia. There's CJ. There we go. So this is Nia, 13, almost 14. She's been homeschooling and just a super trooper despite the circumstances. She's supposed to graduate from her school from 8th grade, and it's all going to be a little different now, but here we go. So Nia's going to help me show you. So Corvan, it is basically a way of getting a little bit of wine out of the bottle without having your wine go bad. So you can, what it does is this needle here, I don't know if you guys can see it. You see that needle? That goes through the cork, and it replaces whatever wine it takes out with argon gas, which is an inert gas. So this is not a TV commercial for Corvan, but I will tell you, I can't live without this. I use it for tastings when we don't have a lot of people. But let's say you have a wine that you really like, you want to see what it's doing, but you don't quite yet know where it is. Well, you don't want to pop that bottle and ruin it. Just take a little bit out, see where it is, and then you can have it for later. So highly recommend. Yes, it is like $200 for these things, or $150. But when you think about the wine that you save, it's well worth it. So that was the answer to the Corvan question. The next one is, what dishes does the Dry Creek Cab pair best with other than steak? And actually, I'll tell you, the Dry Creek Cabs, I don't normally move to that when I'm having a steak. I like our Sonoma Cab or our Alexander Valley Cab, that darker fruit with a little bit more tannin. But this goes great with like pork, and if you have something that's barbecued, again, that spice really pairs well with it. Any kind of like rib dish. And then it's just a really good wine by itself because, again, it's not overly tannic, so it doesn't scream for a pair. This is a great, I call it a fireplace wine, right? You're sitting around the fire with your friends, and you just want to open a bottle of wine and have something that you can have.
Lasagna.
And Nicole made a good point. Again, that red fruit is really beautiful with tomato-based foods like a lasagna. So if you're we talked about it last time, if you're at Catelli's and you're getting that lasagna, there, it's just so great. It's just so perfect with it. So, and hey, there's Donelan Wine. Our friends at Donelan Wine make beautiful, all kinds of beautiful wines, but their Syrah is one of my absolute favorites. And they've been doing some really great virtual tastings too. So check them out, please. And then I see Joaquin here. He said he heard a rumor that it goes with braised pork shoulder. Joaquin 2 weeks ago did a cooking thing, or excuse me, a month ago did a cooking thing with us where he paired our 15 Dry Creek, which is very similar to that dish. And he's a chef and owner of Bacchanal, and just it was a real treat. And so hopefully we'll see what the chef at Madrona Manor in 2 weeks is gonna surprise us with for that Redwood Hill. So those are the questions that we had. I've got two people that want to join. We'll start with, let me see. I'm going to get a virtual taster here. Oh, look, Donelan Wine wants to join. All right. Let's just, this will be fun. Hopefully this is, there's a family at Donelan, so I don't know who we're going to get. This could be good. Hey, it's Cushing.
What's up, Art? How are you,
buddy.
man?
Hey,
How
man.
you doing?
So this guy has been in the business a lot longer than me. I know enough to be dangerous. This guy knows it all. And his family's been doing wine for a long time. So I want to hear what Cushing is drinking.
Oh, we just opened up some white wine.
You can say the name. It's okay.
I mean, I'm actually drinking Chablis. A little European style stuff. Art, I don't know about you, but sometimes I can't drink my own stuff,
You know
when
what? I'm
when
not
you
just
get-
saying that's never a problem that I've had. I think it's because I know I have to drink it or else, I'm going to have to figure out a way to sell it. So I just,
I don't know. I always say when you go to bed with something and wake up with something, sometimes during the day it's nice to try something else.
it's and I'll give you a plug for sure. You guys are making some beautiful wines, and I've really enjoyed. I've popped in on a couple of your virtual tastings, and I think you guys did like bingo.
Yeah, we wanted to do a little wine bingo. I thought it'd be fun to kind of mix it up, not be serious about wines. And some of these tastings you do packages, right? You say, all right, we're going to taste these 3 wines, but then other days it's like just cook something up, prep something up, let's have fun. And wine bingo was fun because my dad has never played bingo, which I find that hard to believe.
I find that hard to believe.
But he's also never owned a computer. So it's like, the guy surprises me every day. And everybody loved it. And we did giveaway prizes and, you should do it. I mean,
No, I don't want
everybody
to
got
steal your
along
brilliant
with it.
idea, but I might have to.
Dude,
No, but
I was
that is kind of the thing, right? We're giving each other ideas, and I think the more entertaining we can make this. Look, Cushing, I mean, nobody wants to hear us ramble on about I'm happy to talk about it, but talking about oak and aging, they just want to have fun. Everybody's a little stressed. It's a break from the norm, and so we've just enjoyed doing it, and we love seeing our friends drinking and seeing what they're drinking, and so hopefully we'll keep doing this. I want to pop on one of yours and watch this bingo, man.
No, it's been a blast, man, and I appreciate you tabbing me.
Of course.
And I hope you guys are doing well. Is that the graduate behind you?
That's the 8th grade graduate right there.
I love it.
Hasn't
Congratulations.
quite graduated yet, but I think it's going to be like I guess there's a virtual graduation to it. So yeah, it's not quite what she was hoping for, but she's been such a trooper about it. She's just, okay, cool, let's do it.
No,
on to the next school.
I was going to say, what a great way to go into high school, silently coming in as a freshman.
I think there's like an avatar that crosses the screen and goes past the diploma. I don't know. We're gonna see. But you know what? These kids are troopers. Lila, the little one, has been. They just get up, they do their homeschool, and then next day they're a lot better than me. I'm usually like in a corner with the fetal position, holding myself. So.
Oh my gosh, I got a couple homeschoolers on their screens right now. We've been trying to minimize it, but it's tough. This is helping, and seeing friends like yourself and just checking in with people. It's been great. So.
Yeah,
cheers,
well, we hope to see you again soon, and I'm sure you and I will be talking soon.
I'm coming up next week, so I'll hit you up.
Good, let's do it. Yeah, absolutely. Do a little distance drinking. All right, man. Talk soon.
See ya.
All right. Let's see. Is Patty? So the last thing that we do, guys. First of all, we're just going to tell you that in 2 weeks, as we mentioned, Madrona Manor is going to be with us. The chef there has already kind of been experimenting with our wine, and we're going to see what Jesse comes up with. So in 2 weeks, that should be a lot of fun. I love doing the food and wine pairings with these restaurants, and this one's a local restaurant just down the road from us. So it's a pretty perfect pairing, I think. So we'll see. Hopefully my sister's going to join. I think we may have just dragged on too long for her. We'll see if she joins. I don't know. Can you text her and say, okay, we're going to, this is what happens. No, she was trying to get in. It was my fault. I don't shut up. But she will hopefully come on and do a trivia question. And if not, we'll have to skip the trivia. But don't forget, if there is a trivia question, you will get this cool T-shirt. So there's that. And look how good it looks on the person. Like, look, see there. It's so good. How good does that look? Right? All right, here she is. Okay, I don't see the request, Patty. Try again. Okay, here we go. Sorry, adding her in now. So this is the fun ending that we do. It's now a tradition. Patty, my sister, who is part of the Flambeaux family, comes on and does a trivia question. And like we mentioned, the T-shirt is at risk. So Patty, take it away.
All right, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. So the oldest known bottle of wine dates back to 325 AD. and it was found in a tomb of a Roman couple that were nobility. So they found 10 bottles in the husband's sarcophagus. How many bottles did they find in the wife's sarcophagus?
Guys, this is almost one where you can take a shot. We
Just
try to make
guess.
them so that you can't go Google it real quick. Sometimes people are good Googlers. I think this one will take some research, so just take a shot and let's see. Here goes. Donelan said 0. Cushing is guessing 0. We're not going to say anything until it's right. Again, 0.
It's not 0.
Okay, Naeli, nice guess with 3, but nothing there. Nia wants to whisper to
I
me.
think it's gonna be a lot more.
All right, Nia's saying go up. Donelan went 30. Okay. Boom! Nola Mama. Yeah, is that right?
Oh, Nola Mama. Nola Mama got it.
Who we
6.
happen to know, a good friend that is actually there. Where is she? There it is. There's Amber. Amber from New Orleans.
I like 100.
Kyle said 10. Wait, the answer is in, guys. It was 6. So apparently back then, when you got buried as the wife, you got less wine. I don't know. Maybe
I don't know.
Maybe she
I don't
usually
know.
drank about 6/10 of what he.
I think she figured in the afterlife she wouldn't have to deal with her husband, so she didn't need quite as much wine.
Well, thank you for everybody for the guesses. Thank you, Patty, for the trivia. As usual, it was awesome. We have a winner. It's Amber. We will get her T-shirt. And please join us in 2 weeks. We will have that Madrona Manor tasting. It should be a lot of fun. Thanks to everybody for being on. We hope to see you soon. All right, bye, guys.